The worst of all possible dystopian futures where political correctness is run amok, a world of self-driving cars dominated by Taco Bell and politically monitored speech and rules against dirty jokes, a world where people dwell in the sewer while others live above ground. 1993, Demolition Man. There's so much that can be said about Demolition Man. It's one of my favorite movies of the era, of the 90s, and still today. It is truly prophetic, as good science fiction strives to be. Demolition Man is comedic and dark. It is an adventure movie, the policeman, John Spartan, who is frozen in our time or the near future, and his arch rival, Simon Phoenix. They are frozen and they awaken in the future, the distant future of the 2030s that really didn't make sense even then, that it would be so close in proximity. But they awaken to a world, well, Wesley Snipes, as Simon Phoenix put it better, it had become a whipped Brady Bunch version of itself, run by a bunch of robed sissies. It clearly is meant to be a commentary on the political correctness that was already a thing being discussed in our society, and it works. But it also continues to project into the future. The world of Demolition Man, everybody has to be polite, everyone has to be nice, telling dirty jokes is a ticketable offense, repeated offenses lead to more stern punishments. So speech is monitored, your diet is monitored, you are forced to be a vegetarian, salt is illegal, smoking is illegal, booze is illegal, all manner of things are illegal. Everything is monitored. Big Brother is everywhere listening in. The computers will hear you say things you're not supposed to and ticket you. You can't even get salt. And all restaurants are now Taco Bell, which wouldn't be bad, except somehow the fat cats of this communist utopia all manage to still be portly and obese on the spectrum of some sort of morbidities, just like in the old Soviet Union, though at Taco Bell the rations are all very small. Enjoy your meal, sir. The future has no pronouns, interestingly enough, or I should say, people seem to be in the habit of referring to each other by their whole name continually. Officer Lenina Huxley, played by Sandra Bullock. It shouldn't be lost on anyone that in this dystopian future, like Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, which has a protagonist named Lenina, we get an officer, Lenina Huxley. And like the protagonists in Brave New World, she questions the future in which she lives, a future in which all violence has been dealt with, nothing really ever happens because of the constant totalitarian monitoring by the chip in your body and in your car, by the cameras, by the computers, by the rules against anything remotely not politically correct or sufficiently woke, we would say, a stability that is dry and bland and meaningless and pathetic, as the comedian Edgar Friendly, the villain who lives underground, played by Dennis Leary, says, I've seen the future. It's a 40-year-old virgin drinking a banana broccoli shake and singing, I'm an Oscar Mayer wiener. What is really interesting is how well Demolition Man has held up. Not only is it fun, but like much more prominent science fiction, Star Trek and others, it really does predict the future in a couple of interesting and clever ways. One of which is the video phone. Now that's been common in the Jetsons and all sorts of sci-fi, but it was really interesting to see in a few places the video phone at the apartment where John Spartan is staying is actually a lot taller than it is wide. It looks and resembles what we would immediately relate to a giant version of a phone screen. Now at the time, this was very odd because especially that era, the 90s was when widescreen TVs were becoming really trendy. And by the end of the 90s, everyone had the flat screen, widescreen TV. That was obviously the future. And yet when John Spartan gets an accidentally wrong number call from a mostly naked woman in her shower, she is in a tall, narrow video screen. The other major way that it predicts the future, the degree to which the censorship of ideas and words and thoughts can be monitored by technology. Obviously, the technology already existed, though expensive then, projecting the idea into the future of being listened to. And though there's all sorts of claims that your phone does not listen to if you don't want it to, we've all had creepy experiences where something we talked about popped up and presented us a coupon the next time we opened Facebook. Maybe it was something else entirely, but it is so obvious, the idea of the screen, again, from 1984 by Orwell, that the screen couldn't be turned off and it would always be watching you. And little did he guess that we would buy them just like this, and I would aim it at myself continually for using the internet and the various features. So Demolition Man predicts the degree to which all that is possible, that the computer understands certain words and kicks out tickets. It also predicts to an incredible degree of accuracy the ideas and concepts of wokeness that we've had over the last few years, even the contemporary virus of unknown origin, the name of which I cannot say without being censored on YouTube. Because in this future of Demolition Man, everybody lives this utopian or dystopian lifestyle because they must conform, and as long as you conform, you have a domicile, you've got your banana broccoli shake, you get to sing along with the radio, playing mini tunes, which are actually old commercial jingles. You even get to have sex. You're allowed to, at least only in a virtual reality setting, which is increasingly the way most people are having sex today through technology. It's really sort of frightening. But like the disease of unknown origin, the virus of unknown origin spreading, people are expected to conform, or else you cannot enter restaurants, you cannot enter supermarkets, you cannot hold down a job, you cannot live as part of this utopian civil society unless you conform to the standards that it dictates and is able to monitor with the technology. People that don't conform live underground. Noticeably, the people that are monitored above ground all have a chip inside of them, a sort of passport, if you will, that allows them to do business and go from place to place. They even mention you can't buy anything or do any transaction without the chip. And yet nobody is able to find Edgar Friendly and his rebels who live in the sewer underground in the catacombs. Presumably they are also not chipped. They don't carry the passport, and therefore they have been so increasingly isolated from the means to make a living, to earn the money to buy food, to be able to go to a place to buy food. They are so ostracized from normal civil society that they are considered rebels. They're referred to as scraps, leftovers of society who live underground where they can live free, come and go as they please there, doing whatever they please there. Increasingly, Demolition Man looks like the movie that predicted our time and predicted our future with a far greater accuracy than any of the optimism that was inherent in Star Trek that we love for its optimism. But that's not panning out to be our future. Probably never could have been because of human nature being what it is. But more and more, Demolition Man is looking like the future. Regulated speech and thought, mandatory passports in order to have a job, hold a job, buy things, go to the store, just to live, survive as part of normal society, the necessity of conforming in thought and word, so that you can have a YouTube channel and I can mouth off all I want so far, for now. But I better not talk about the virus of unknown origin or give it a name, because then I will be dinged. One must have their chip if they want to get their wafer with their little bit of beans and nothing else and no spices at Taco Bell. The horrible nightmare of Taco Bell finally ruling the world, but like the Taco Bell of our time, having pulled all the good stuff off the menu, and be selling increasingly bland garbage. Demolition Man predicted a future that you really couldn't have seen from there. Some of it made sense based on the commentary it was giving us on that society, but now as time goes on, more and more in hindsight, go back and watch it again. Everything from the brainwashing technology to the cryonics, to the self-driving cars, to the secure foam, there's a million things in there. The virtual reality sex suit that increasingly is part of pornographic life thanks to the internet. I said that plural for a reason. All of the things that Demolition Man warned us about, the nightmarish future to come, they're really starting to pan out now. It really, truly was prophetic. If you haven't seen it, go watch it, find it. Let me know what you think below. I might just watch it again today.